Presenting to you our action research, Improving French Grammar in Middle School Using the Inductive Method and Context-Based Approaches by Sarah Young and Erika van Stowski.
Our problem statement. The revised French curriculum is designed to focus on 7 enduring ideas, predominantly focusing on communication proficiency. For example, educators focus on engaging students in meaningful and authentic communication, making real-world connections, developing strategies, and connecting language and culture. Explicit grammar instruction has been removed, and instead teachers are encouraged to model good grammatical usage. As a result, the emphasis has shifted away from more traditional grammar-focused methods, such as conjugation of verbs in various tenses and memorizing grammatical rules and exceptions without context. This new approach, which reflects the Common European Framework of Reference, CEFR, requires teachers to be more authentic in their approach and emphasizes the use of the action-oriented approach to second language acquisition, targeting real-world task completion. This has helped to solve some of the problems associated with the old method. However, as a result of this shift, students are left with a major grammatical gap in their knowledge, hindering a deeper understanding of French.
Our research question: how will teaching grammar using a combination of the inductive method and context-based approaches through the completion of goal-oriented tasks improve a student's understanding of the French language structure, as determined through the improvement of oral and written work over a period of time?
These are our relevant terms. Inductive method. An inductive approach, involves the learners detecting or noticing patterns and working out a rule for themselves before they practice the language. The learner-centered nature of inductive teaching is often seen as advantageous as the learner is more active in the learning process, rather than being a passive recipient. This increased engagement may help the learner to develop deeper understanding and help fix the language being learned. This could also promote the strategy of noticing in the student and enhance learner autonomy and motivation.
The context-based approach. This refers to the context of the lesson or the authentic task that students are working towards. For the purpose of our action research plan, it means that we will address common grammatical errors that appear within a student's work as they work towards completing that task. The errors are addressed within the context of that task or activity. For example, if a student was completing a journal reflection about a trip to the museum and it contained many errors in the past tense, we would then address the past tense within the context of that task.
The CEFR, Common European Framework of Reference for Language Learning, Teaching, and Assessment. This describes in a comprehensive way what language learners have to learn in order to use a language for communication and what knowledge and skills they have to develop as to be able to act effectively. The description also covers the cultural context in which language is set. The framework also defines levels of proficiency which allow a learner's progress to be measured at each stage of learning and on a lifelong basis.
The action-oriented approach encompasses the communicative approach, extending it to include engagement of students in learning through purposeful action. Students learn French while focusing on solving a problem, fulfilling an obligation, or reaching a goal in the context of a meaningful task. Students are active participants in the learning process as they are encouraged to make decisions, collaborate, and support each other. A realistic and relevant situation provides context for the task and establishes any social relationships between students and others who may be involved in their interaction. Students develop competencies in the French language through meaningful communicative activities that are connected to the task.
After reviewing some literature, our first 2 resources deal with grammar instruction within the explicit context of the CEFR and the action-oriented approach. Both are teacher resources that provide concrete lesson or activity examples and tips to assist teachers in their classroom preparation. In the case of Taglianti, the question of errors and corrections is addressed as well. Both Taglianti and Horath recommend a blended approach of implicit and context-based grammatical instruction. That will be our approach with respect to our ARQ. Fayez et al. Provided some insight into the early introduction of the CEFR action-oriented approach in the Canadian context of Ontario schools, listing the implications, both the pros and cons, of the framework in practice.
Some of the research journals do not use the catchwords action-oriented or CEFR associated with our problem statement and our action research question. However, their rationale summaries of research and conclusions draw on shared ideas that are closely linked to what is prescribed by the CEFR. Specifically, these articles recommend teaching grammar implicitly through many meaningful, authentic, and communicative examples. As in the CEFR, these articles underline that learning a second language is a communicative and social activity which should be the focus of any language class. Vogel and Engelhard Jr. refer directly to Vygotsky's 1978 work on the zone of proximal development, ZPD. Both Afsar and Rashid and Collins et al. Also refer in general to Vygotsky by the strategies and implementation they suggest. The ZPD is the developmental gap between learners' actual and potential developmental skills. The actual development level represents what the students can do alone already, and the potential development levels represents what they can do with the assistance of the teacher or more capable peers.
Vogel and Engelhard Jr. cite that instructors and/or adult experts play an important role in helping learners acquire knowledge. They can act as a model for both formal and informal language use and work to create a French classroom that is authentic as possible, with high expectations for students. The ZPD is an area where teachers aim to provide their instruction. With Vygotsky's theory in mind, along with strategies from Taglianti and Horath, as well as the insight from the teachers involved in the Fayez et al. Study, our action research plan to test out a combined inductive and context-based approach to French grammar instruction should theoretically prove successful. In closing, it would be beneficial to find further examples of inductive and context-based grammar lessons for reference.
Our action research plan. Our action research plan includes the collection of data from 3 sources. Our 3 sources include a teacher journal or teacher reflection. This is a qualitative type of data. These notes will help us to understand what we did each day and what our immediate impressions were. It allows us to reflect on our process and take immediate corrective action if and when necessary. At the end of the research period, we can look back on these notes and tell whether we were improving or if our impressions were correct or incorrect. Through the data source of video and audio recording, which is also qualitative but also quantitative in nature, we will be recording students presenting oral activities at the beginning, midway, and end of our research period. This data will give us assessment from multiple points throughout the program and would hopefully demonstrate some quantifiable growth that we can refer back to during our analysis. Some of the recordings would be from spontaneous entire class oral activities, and some would be from prepared presentations. We would also be collecting a sample of student written work, which is again both qualitative and quantitative. Written samples provide evidence of cognitive and reflective use of grammar in a thought-out and planned way. It's less spontaneous in nature and gives us a better idea if the students are understanding the grammar rules. Using this throughout and ongoing will help direct where we need to focus lesson development or provide mini lessons.
The types of data we are collecting are both qualitative and quantitative in nature. The triangulation of our data sources ensure that our results will be both valid and reliable. Our data tracks changes over time to mark the progress of our students with respect to implementation of the inductive method and context-based approach when teaching grammar in both their oral proficiency and written proficiency. In addition to student work, we will also be tracking our own observations, which provide a rich qualitative perspective to back our quantitative findings in tracking student progress through 2 different types of learning, both oral and written. Specifically, we will be tracking the reduction of common grammatical errors over time as we address them using the new combined method, and will take into account all the students' work who are participating in the study. In order to ensure accountability through the research study, teacher partner conferences will be held regularly.
The participants and the setting of our research. The participants include the researchers, both teacher partners, Sarah Young and Erika Van Stowski. The students that we will be focusing on are our grade 6 French immersion classrooms, colleagues from other French immersion classrooms in our school, the principal, and also we would like to consult with the French consultant of the board, who would be able to provide us with invaluable resources and advice, and also benefit from the research that we are doing. The setting of our research is that the data will be collected in the school classroom over a 3-month period. The research could continue if not enough evidence was collected.
Ethical considerations. Ethical considerations primarily surround the use of student recordings, both audio and video, and collection of written work. Prior to even contacting parents, school administration and the school board needs to approve and consent the research project. Upon consent from the school board and administration, parents will be informed about the nature of the information being collected, how and why it is being collected. Participation is voluntary, and parents reserve the right to withdraw permission at any time. In the case that a parent does withdraw their child from participation, their work will be removed and no longer included in the data collection and research findings. Students will not be identifiable by name, student number, class number, or school name. These identifying labels will be removed from any written work included in the study. All student work, video or audio recordings will not be posted to any public forums and will be destroyed 1 year after the research has ended. Written work will be returned to the student where possible and shredded if not.
The timeline for our data collection will be a 3-month period from October to December. Our teacher journals will be written in weekly or after a significant event between October to December. They'll be collected by both teaching partners. Audio and visual recordings will be collected bi-weekly from October to December. Again, they will be collected by both teaching partners separately. Student written work will be collected monthly at the end of each month from October to December, collected by both teaching partners separately. While not a data collection method, our teacher partner conferences ensure that we are collaborating, and the meetings will take place formally at the end of each month between October to December.
Data analysis. The teacher journals provide us insight into our mind's eye during the action and provide a solid point of reference for when we review our findings each month. These journals will be used to help us recall events and synthesize our findings from our 2 other data sources. For our audio and written data sources, we will use a combination of a checklist that contains specific look-fors and anecdotal notes. And by reviewing this data, we will be able to prepare qualitative and quantitative analysis. By using the same tool throughout, we can assure reliability and validity. We will prepare a data analysis in advance of our teacher-partner meeting each month. During our meeting, we will look critically at our results and, over time, measure improvement. We will set our goals for the following month and make adjustments as needed based on our results.
In closing, we believe that this action research study has the potential to greatly benefit our teaching practice and our students' French communication skills. By initiating and practicing our teaching using the inductive method in authentic and context-based scenarios, we are creating a rich grammar classroom environment. We believe these strategies will enable our students to be effective language learners, such that they will take their learning beyond the classroom.
For reference, this is our annotated bibliography.
Thank you very much.